Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Fair Life. Now that I took a week off, it really feels weird to prepare and to do a show after taking a week off. I mean, it's sort of been a routine for the last couple of years, so it's a little strange. But yeah, definitely gonna try not to do that again. That's yeah. So I was driving on last Monday so from Gen Con. So yeah, I theoretically might have been able to stop and do something and make it work, but yeah, it didn't really make much sense at the time. So I just figured, yeah, we'll just wait till this week. I thought that was a better option. Yeah, I'm still working on the whole streaming from my car approach to doing things. We'll see how that goes in the not too distant future. But hello, everyone. Great to see you. Hello, Kurt and Jan and Kathy and Greg and Katsurita. So yes, and I totally agree. Week off can be a good thing, I suppose, now and then. But let's not make it a habit, is what I'm saying, because I miss y'all, and it's always great to spend a little time with y'all and let you know what's going on with my world and what's going on with the fair world, and hear a little bit about what's going on with you because yeah, Mondays usually not the best days of the week, but I try to change that as much as I can. So yeah, so Gen Con, yes, I was at Gen Con last weekend. Well, not yet this last weekend, but the weekend before, a week ago. And thank you, Greg. Yes, I am. Well, back to the land of the living. It's those 16-hour drives can be killer. I'm going to tell you, they can be. They really can. Huh. But if you have the right audiobook, it's not too bad. Interesting. Okay. So you can see the comments and you can type comments. You just can't actually post. Hmm. Well, I don't have an iPad, so I'm gonna have to rely on you to diagnose that. Well, I mean, as long as I can set it up and just hit go, and it would have to be all automated. I can talk while I drive. No, I can actually do that. But other than that, but no, honestly, what I would probably do is I would pull over somewhere and set it up that way, because yeah, that just to be 100% safe. Because you if I was driving, I really couldn't look at comments. That would be bad. Um, ooh, unless I had a really fancy heads-up display on the. No, we're not going there. It's tempting to work on, but no, I'm not gonna do it. I'd pull over. That's what we're gonna do. And hello, Janine, over on YouTube. So Janine's still making the jump over to YouTube for that better video quality over there. Don't blame you. Although, from what I heard, some of you do watch the show on YouTube, but comment on Facebook, which I totally understand. So yes, so Gen Con. Oh, okay, I see. Good for you, April. Gen Con, well, it was an interesting year. Certainly more people than last year, but yeah, there was still. I think the number I heard was a little over 50,000 people. Certainly not the record. The record was in 2019 where they hit around 70,000. But with the restrictions and everything, it was still a very good crowd and not too bad. And oh, hello, great to see you, Arhili. Not sure how to pronounce that, but yes, Gen Con. Well, let's just jump right in and I'll show you a little bit. Here you go. Here's a nice little picture of me on Thursday at Gen Con, the first morning of. So yeah, wearing my normal garb. So yeah, I don't look at that different. But there were rules. Everyone had to mask. So that was universal. So that was pretty cool. And then everybody had a band, a vaccine band that you had to wear in order to attend anything. This yellow band that was pretty obvious, and we all had to go through this one big long line to get our bands. I couldn't go through the normal headquarters like I get my badges and bypass the long line. I had to go through it, but we got through it pretty quick, so it was okay. Um, oh, heli, okay, so like helicopter. Uh, Excellent. Okay, heli. And oh, and hey, Diana, thanks. I'm thanks for going to the shows. I was going to talk a little bit about that. You might have some feedback on those shows as well, because, well, let's be honest, I'm a little biased, and I don't always have. I never get to see my shows from the best vantage point. It's the truth. And oh, and yeah, Kim, questions about that? Yes, I will. I will be performing at the Sherwood Celtic Festival. My next, in a couple of weeks, I'll be heading off to Dragon Con in Atlanta. That's Labor Day weekend, and I'll be performing there. All lot of shows, and I just found out about another one today, potentially. So it's yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Just crazy music for 4 to 5 straight days is really what Dragon Con is. But the following weekend, I'll be driving back in the interim and going to the Sherwood Celtic Festival, and I'll be there both days. So not just one day this year. I'll be there both days. So that should be a lot of fun. So thanks for asking. Excellent. But yes. But anyway, yeah. As you can see from behind me, yeah, you have the sign behind me that tells about math. Let's just go full screen here. Here you go. You can see to the left of my head there in the picture, welcome to Gen Con. You know, you have the mask showing there, and you can see on this, everybody behind me is masked. They kind of had to be. Um, so that was pretty cool. And oh, well, thank you, Diana. I appreciate that. I've already been planning a lot of upgrades and changes for next year's show, so I'll be talking a little bit about that here on the stream over the next, well, many months. But yeah, look forward to it because there's going to be more shows and some more themed stuff, and uh, definitely going to tweak a little bit. I learned a lot from this year doing that. Uh, oh, right, right, right. Yeah, online Gen Con back when they just did it online a couple of years ago because of COVID. It was, I think all things considered, they did a pretty good job. They were just happy to have anything. Um, and that was pretty it was pretty cool. But right now they just kind of continued since they already put the infrastructure in there to offer that option. And I think year by year it's only going to get better. A lot of people did the local stuff because they were there this year, so I think the online thing wasn't as huge as it was a couple of years ago. But now I think it's still going to grow. I mean, think of the online part as like a first year convention that has a lot of support, but it's going to get better. So let's hope. Well, that happens a little bit at conventions, just like fairs. Um, so yes. Oh, April's asking about the mask mandate. Yeah, actually, I very rarely did I see anybody not wearing a mask. People were very strict with it. I mean, yeah, when they took a drink of something or ate, they would remove it temporarily, but then they put it right back on. I mean, people were uh, fairly dutiful about it. I was I was pleasantly surprised. I think the combination of the masks and the vaccine mandate, where everybody had to be vaccinated in order to be at the shows, I think that kind of pushed everybody. It essentially, you had to be a certain type of person who was cautious about it to go. I mean, yeah, you always worry about people who do the fake vaccination cards and all of that, but still, I mean, I think generally speaking, it was very good, very good. Um, so yeah, I mean, always a good thing, always a good thing. And yes, I did. Some people were not so lucky. I know there in the Gen Con fan Facebook group, there was a lot of talk about that. Um, a lot of talk about the different. Actually, I should go back to the bus so you can see me. But yeah, there was a lot of talk about who might have gotten it, and there definitely were some people that did get uh, COVID, and the test came back positive. I think for the most part it was mild because everybody's vaccinated, but still, um, yeah, it's you just can't go fully without it. Um, Yeah, and I mean that's always one of the keys, Janine. I mean, if you can stay away from people, keep a good distance, and you're mostly outside or inside, you're not close to anybody. There's no collections of large groups of people, it's a lot easier. Gen Con was tough because most of it's indoors. And actually, let's talk about that a little bit. I was gonna go through and oh, and great, that's great to hear, Diana. Yeah, Gen Con. Well, okay, let's switch here, and you can kind of see what it kind of looks like from the exhibitors hall. Yeah, let's jump into the full screen again so you can kind of see it. This is where my table was, and but it's way in the back. You can kind of see in the upper left hand corner, you have those banners coming from the ceiling, the 500 and the 600 that show you this is the area of those booths. Well, in between that and the far back is an 800, and past that, up against the wall, is where I was. So yeah, that was it's not the best location, but at the same time, I get the booth for free. I mean, they don't. Everybody else pays for it, and I go and I play music, and they as for them and some of the events and things going on, and in response, they give me a free table. So can't really complain. But it is kind of way in the back over there. But you can kind of see how it works. I mean, you have a lot of. I mean, this is just one of the rooms. They have several that are just like this, and the different companies have their games out there, and yeah, they'll give demonstrations, show you how to play the new games that are out, and yeah, sometimes they release them here there at the convention where it's like a pre-release. That's the only place you can get them unless you want to wait for a few weeks. Um, well, thank you, Diana. I appreciate it. But it was fun. It was fun. Yeah, definitely an interesting experience. And it would take hours to go see all of these booths, just a casual walk by. So keep that in mind if you want to go. They sell out of some of the really in-demand games and new releases pretty early, sometimes in the first day. So I recommend people go Thursday if they're going for a single day, unless there's a particular day they want to see something, an event that's going on. But it takes a while to see everything. Yeah, and they have other rooms like this where you have people that are just playing games and enjoying that, and they set up games that people can try out and play, and rooms to exhibit these new games. They'll even have beta tests where people can come up and play a game that's not even released yet and give feedback, and their feedback is taken seriously. And when their game is released, possibly at the next Gen Con next year, they will their feedback is a part of it. The changes they recommended might happen. So if you like kind of doing cutting edge gaming, whether it's RPG or board game or card game or whatever, it's kind of a cool place to go. Yeah. Oh, and the stadium right next to the convention center is the Lucas Oil Stadium. It's the stadium for the Indianapolis Colts, the NFL football team, and they have stuff in the stadium. They have a tunnel that goes from the convention center under the road underground over to the stadium, and there are a lot of rooms over there that things are going on, and the main stadium. You can see it here where they have a lot of tables. It just for different demonstration things going on. It is crazy. As a result, this is actually the only stadium I've ever been in that that did not that I have not seen a game in. Every time I go to a stadium, my dad, I grew up, my dad is a huge football fan and baseball and basketball too. So I got to see a lot of sporting events as a kid, and I have a lot, but this is the only stadium I've ever been to I've never seen a game at, well, at least a sports game. These games, yes, I've seen lots of board games played there. So I guess actually when you think about it, I have seen games there. That's a good point. Yes, yes. And yeah, you're right, Kurt. It is. I once went through the dealer's room years ago. This was back in like 05, 06, something like that, and went through the dealer's room, just playing music, going just casually walking down every lane, just in the main dealer's room. It took me about 50 minutes to go through, just not really stopping, just continually walking aisle by aisle by aisle, 50 minutes. Crazy, crazy. And it's much, it's bigger now. Uh, uh, oh, okay. I didn't realize they had that in the stadium this year. But yeah, okay. Donate blood. Yeah, I take a quick glance in there, but normally what I do is I'll play music in the hall in that tunnel that goes to the stadium at at least once a day for about an hour, and that's one of those deals I have with Gen Con. They bring us out there and they have the different musicians play at different locations throughout the convention, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, yeah, I can do sales and make tips and everything like that, but that this year that tunnel there was nothing. There was nothing there. No other tables, nothing. So I was the only person doing anything on that long tunnel, and that's why I chose there because it needed help. So yeah. Right. It was honestly the good thing about the people who go to Gen Con is they're usually the quiet people. I mean, there's a ton of people, but honestly, these are not the loud spoken loudmouths, the boisterous, the outgoing. These are more of the introverts. This is like a convention that we usually get mostly introverts. So it's about the best situation with a lot of people you could possibly be in. I'll put it that way. So yes, it's not too bad. And oh, hey Jamie, great to see you. I was just talking about Gen Con and all of that fun, and yeah, just giving a little bit of info on that. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. So back to me and enjoying. I did not. Jamie is not an introvert. This is true. There certainly are exceptions, but I'm just saying as a whole, usually the Gen Con attracts a lot of introverts. Dragon Con, somewhat, but less so. I mean, I think that's kind of the gist I found. But yes, release the introverts. Yes, yes, Jamie. Yes, yes. She is seeing the mask that she made for me, and I love the look of it. It goes so well with my outfit and my motif, as it will. So yes, I bring that out sometimes for shows and all of that. So kind of nice. So yes, I forgot to mention that. So thank you, Jamie. But yes, that is a Jamie Hauser special mask. So yes, but yeah, the convention. It's been in Indianapolis since 2003, and before that it was in Wisconsin, and it was founded in the '60s by well, one of the founders was Gary Gygax, who later would create Dungeons and Dragons, and I think partly because of that creation and it kind of being co-branded with the convention really grew as a huge gaming convention nationally and internationally as a result. And it really became the role playing convention for the extreme, along with other games. Uh, yeah, I totally understand, Diana. I mean, that certainly, but I think you do get what I'm saying about Gen Con, right, Diana? Because it's a very mellow place compared to other conventions. I think um, people are there to kind of chill, relax, play some games, that kind of thing. So for a convention, it's pretty relaxed and not as loud. I mean, I think about in the Marriott at Dragon Con on a Saturday. Yeah, Gen Con is nothing like that and never will be. I'm sorry. That's just bedlam craziness. So, oh, well, thank you. Gen Con, you started. Well, that is awesome to hear. Uh, this is going to go great with my 7 reasons because you'll know you'll you'll understand what I mean when I go through that. But yes, that is wonderful. That is great to hear. And yes, Dragon Con will be. Yep, Gary Gygax, the pioneer of pioneers of uh, role playing games, definitely. Um, he, wow, such a big part of Gen Con and gaming in general. So yes, little shout out to his memory because yeah, wow, always cool, always cool. Well, yeah, let's go ahead and talk before I'm actually going to try to make do a decent thing with time here. So let's just jump on fairs real quick because I've been talking about conventions so much. There are some fairs coming up. So yeah, let's take a look at that. And you'll notice all the fairs are in the north because, well, it's towards the end of summer here, and a lot of the fairs that have been going on, like Sterling and Colorado, done. They're finished for the summer, and really Bristol's still going on, but and a few are starting, like Pennsylvania, that are going to last a while. But we're kind of still in that transitional phase of not many fairs, but they're all up north, which is fine, and I appreciate it because let me tell you, I loved the temperature on in Indianapolis because everybody was saying, "Oh, it's so warm. It's like 93." And I was kind of like, oh, this is like what it's like at 10 p.m. In the dark in Austin. So this is great. I loved it. It's not 106, so I was very happy. A little more humid, not a problem for me. Um, yes, you're right. I grew up in Houston, so humidity doesn't bother me. It was more humid than Austin, but I was fine. I was good, no problem. And thank you, Jamie, for about the graphic. Yeah, that took a little time and work, but I was very happy with it. Um, right? Thank you. April is in the Austin area too, so she knows exactly what I'm talking about. And that was the high on Thursday. It was not that high on Friday, Saturday. I think it was more like upper 80s at that point. So yeah, I was very happy. That was not a problem. Great weather. Anyway, let's jump to the full page here and talk about it. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, everybody get your cats ready because we have the laser pointer. Here we go. Yay. I love my laser pointer. All right. So, a lot of changes. We have the Pennsylvania Renaissance Festival, uh, Pennsylvania Renaissance Fair, just starting up first weekend in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Yay. Um, so there's going to be 11 weekends of that, and believe it or not, that's a back step from how many weekends they used to do. They used to do, I think, as many as 16 or so. So 11 is, yeah, much less. We'll see if they stick with that. But opening weekend theme is fairies and fantasy. So something cool to check out. As always, fairies and fantasy, always a good theme. And in the same state, not, I mean, it doesn't seem like that far, but it's far enough to justify, I think. Still a good leap away is the Pittsburgh Renaissance Festival. That's its first weekend as well, and it goes on for 6 weekends. And yeah, now that's in West Newton, Pennsylvania. This one is weird because they have themed weekends, but the first weekend's theme is really weird. I mean, like future weekends have the Celtic weekend, Children's weekend, Wine and Revelry, Pirate Invasion, and Love and Romance. The first weekend, I kid you not, is called Opening Weekend Celebration. That's the theme. That's the theme. They might as well have just not themed it. I don't really. That's weird. It's weird. Or come up with a better name, like um, uh, uh, Back to Fair in 2022 theme or something. I mean, something. I don't know. Just opening weekend celebration. That almost sounds a little obvious to me, but oh well. Um, hey, to each their own. Maybe that's just they're trying it. Uh, but still, I've heard a lot of good things about Pittsburgh, so definitely worth checking out. I just find that a little funny. Going over to the Michigan Renaissance Festival. That's its first weekend in Holly, Michigan, and it has going on for 7 weekends. And its opening weekend theme is pirates and pups. No joke. Um, Pirates and puppies. They are doing a lot with rescue foundations and adoption of pets. So good for them. I think that's an interesting idea for a theme, and I applaud them for that. That's really cool. Um, that is definitely right, right, right. Yeah, and Jamie's not wrong. I mean, opening weekend, we used to call it. Well, generally, I've heard it called, uh, just the uh, practice weekend too. It's really people are still trying to figure things out. Yeah, you're not wrong, Janine. Just it's kind of it. That's kind of how I look at it too. It's a little weird. It's definitely a little weird. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. In then of course we have Bristol still going on, and yeah, over in that's in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and it has 3 more weekends. Um, and they do now. This is interesting. They do have several themed weekends, but not the first weekend. Then they have several themed weekends, and then no more themes. So last weekend it was steampunk weekend. This weekend, no theme. So it's kind of interesting. They've kind of geared it to particular weekends. They don't um, they figure they're not going to theme it if they don't have anything to theme it with. So that's interesting, a little different, but always a Bristol, always a fan favorite. Then we go over to the Midlands Renaissance Revel in Council Bluffs, Iowa. So that's pretty cool. Now this is interesting because it is 1 weekend only, technically, because really it's a 2 weekend fair, but they separate the weekends. 1 weekend is in May and 1 weekend is in August. So they just kind of have they do a 1 weekend fair in different seasons. It's an interesting concept. I mean, I because the risk of doing 1 weekend is always if you get rained out, um, it can really cause a lot of financial problems. Unless I mean, for the fair they can have insurance, but vendors and uh, performers and everything who might be relying on sales or tips or whatever might be in trouble. So I guess maybe they set it up where a lot of the vendors and the entertainers are the same each time to balance it out or what. But it's an interesting concept, I've got to say. So um, yeah, that definitely interesting. And of course, it's 1 weekend, so they didn't worry about a theme. It's like you said, that whole Renaissance Festival theme weekend. Then we go up to the Minnesota Renaissance Festival in Shakopee, Minnesota. It's its first weekend, just starting. 7 weekends to go, and their theme is Once Upon a Time. Uh, oh yeah, yeah, Greg. Yeah, the whole vendors love to try for hours for a single weekend. If it's not very far, sometimes if you can get it on the way, like you're going from one fair, like Colorado ended, you stop by and you go on the way to somewhere else. That can work. You can do stuff like that, and if you do well, hey, you were driving anyway, and you didn't have another event. If you don't, well, you're driving anyway. Hopefully, maybe you made a little money, enough money to cover gas. But that's they do have their place if they're timed right for the season. Is how I'd say in between fairs that people go. Can be pretty cool. Okay, going over to Washington Midsummer Renaissance Fair. So of course that's up here in Bonnie Lake, Washington. That's the last weekend, and their theme is Across the Multiverse. So that's essentially their anything goes themed weekend where you can dress up as any type of science fiction or fantasy character from any type of cosplay or fandom you want. So pretty much anything you want, you can get away with there. That's the theme, which is not a bad approach. I like that. So, um, well, thank you, Kurt. This was the first time I tried that, and I wanted to give it a shot, and I appreciate the feedback. I For me, I find that interesting. Not just to know what the themes are in case you want to go that weekend, but also just what they're doing theme wise in general, because there's so many differences. Yeah, yeah. I mean that's true. We have I have friends performing at a lot of these different ones from Pennsylvania and Bristol and yeah, all of them. It's you kind of as a performer you kind of get to know all these people and if you take a look, I mean some of them I didn't even know. I was looking at the different websites and was like, oh, they're playing there. I mean you kind of lose touch with people in the off season of a fair. So yeah, you kind of get that. Uh, then let's see. You might be able to notice I put a little shamrock right here. Yeah, green doesn't quite work with the background. I'm probably going to change that in the future. But this is the Portland Celtic Fair. Now, Alicia sent me all of these, and yeah, she sometimes includes Celtic festivals. and other events that might be close to Ren fairs, but she'll put them in. Some usually I don't use those, but I appreciate that she puts that extra effort in. And but this one was sort of a coin flip. It's in Hillsboro, Oregon, and it's just in the northwest corner. I It's Portland Celtic Fair, not a Celtic festival like you normally would hear, or a Scottish festival, a Celtic fair. And they dress up in, Renaissance garb as well as Celtic Renaissance garb. It's trying to show off that. It is very, uh, it is, it's more fair than Celtic festival. So I want to include it there. I may do a few things like that in the future, but it is Saturday only. So if you're in that area, something to check out. It's small, intimate, but the people there seem to really like it, and the location is beautiful. So that's really nice. Always cool. So yeah, something to check out. Yeah, I that's you're not the first person to say that, Jamie. Oh, you're right. Yeah, four leaf clover. Um, but yeah, that's yeah, maybe I should do a tutorial for newbies. People have talked about that, and I've talked about maybe doing something a little bit about Faire and how it works. It's not a bad idea. It really isn't. Um, yeah, maybe I should do something like that. Just a little 30-minute. So you're new to Faire. Here's what you should know, and here's what you should do, and here's what you should avoid. Uh, so yeah, that might be something good. I'll think about that. So we can talk about it more at Dragon Con. We'll have some time. Always fun. So yeah, okay, 7 reasons. I've already talked a lot about conventions, so I thought 7 reasons. Here's what I'm going to talk about, because I did talk a lot about cons, whether it's Gen Con or Dragon Con, on my Faire stream. So yeah, so I thought, okay, let's do 7 reasons going to conventions isn't selling out. Because yeah, I mean, when there aren't that many Ren Fair groups that also do conventions. There are more now than there used to be. But I remember 20 years ago, there were very few. Now there are some, and it is kind of interesting how that's gone. So, but yeah, let's jump in there. So, 7 reasons going to conventions isn't selling out. Um, so number 7 for me, capitalism. It's another gig. I want the money. Because diversification, it's tough to make a living as an artist, as a performer, at Faire, period. And anything you can fill up, whether you're doing a pub gig during the week, or busking in town this day or that. I mean, whatever you can do, whatever works with your strengths, is can help you survive as a performer. It's never easy. So yeah, having another gig, worth it. I think that gives me a pass right there, and anybody else switching over to other types of events. I don't think you should just have to do fairs if you're generally a fair performer. Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be defined by one thing. So number 6, schedule filler, because hey, sometimes week fairs are great for block booking. You normally get several weekends in a row, and you can do all of them. But sometimes, like I said before about a vendor going, stopping off at a one-weekend fair on the way to another one, the same can be said for conventions, because sometimes you can go and do a convention in between fairs. So yeah, I really think that's that yeah, it kind of works that way. Number 5, making new fans. So yeah, I mean, like uh Ellie was talking earlier about, she found me through Gen Con, and that's how she got to this channel. If I hadn't done conventions, she wouldn't be here, and possibly even not just a fan for me, but also somebody who might give more conventions and more fairs a try through the stream. So hey, that's always a good thing. Always a good thing. So number 4, cross promotion. I mean, same thing. What I was just talking about. You have for people who go to fairs, they hear a little bit about conventions through me, and they might want to try that. So the convention will get people that might not have gone otherwise. Same for the reverse. Convention people that go to a lot of conventions, they hear about a fair I'm at, they say, hey, well, I'll give it a try, and they become a fan. So it's a win-win. That I'm sort of a I'm a cross pollinator. I don't know if I like the sound of that. I'll come up with a new phrase. Anyway, number 3, historical and character overlap. I mean, for me, I'm a bard. I mean, yeah, at conventions, bards are a thing. I mean, in games, there's a lot of games, role playing games like Dungeons and Dragons, are they're almost a bit of a what if type of scenario. They draw a lot from history, whether it's the weapons or the social or political systems of government. I mean, whatever, uh, to work that world. And there is a lot of crossover. If you're interested in the history of our planet, then you can sometimes really get into the history of a role playing game. So it really is. There is a lot of overlap, and it works well. Works really well. It's easy to be interested in both, is I guess what I'm saying. Number 2, and you get the fan overlap, and I mentioned that a little bit before too. I mean, uh, people are interested in both. I mean, I talked about drawing people to a new event they haven't done, but it's also true that a lot of people that go to conventions also go to fairs and vice versa. So why wouldn't I do shows for fans I already have? Hey, why not? Um, so yeah, totally, totally. Oh yeah, I mean that they're like bard crossover, always good. I did a workshop at the convention entitled "Be a Better Bard." How to write music for your campaign as a bard. Giving some tips uh, to how to some basic tips just for a beginner to try to be more of a bard. I thought it was really good. Yes, yes. Alternate history and all of that is always really um, definitely. So, yes, number 1, and this, of course, being the most important reason, it's fun. I mean, come on. Going to a convention is a lot of fun. Going to Ren fairs are a lot of fun. Why would I not do both? And now, admittedly, I don't get to have as much fun as y'all do. I mean, I really don't. I mean, in some ways, I play music and I really love it and I enjoy it, but I don't get to see much else. I'm busy. I'm working. I mean, I stay at my table. Um, I get to talk with a lot of y'all, and it is a lot of fun doing that. But I, over the years, I could probably count on one hand how many other events I've gone and seen at conventions, and everything. And fairs, I hardly have time to go see other shows. It's really tough. I get to have performer fun, but I don't usually have time to pretend that I'm just a regular patron and enjoy stuff like that. It's a shame, but the such is life. Certainly, it would be nice sometimes to just go and not have to work. But and I always try to pick out maybe one thing if I have time for it. If there's one thing I really want to do, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that. But it's a challenge. It really is. So anyway, woo, back we go. And and yeah, Kurt, you're totally right. I kind of am there to work. It is, yeah. I was talking to some people. I was busking out in the lane, and somebody came up and talked to me for a second, and I talked to them, and then they said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting you." I was like, "Yeah, sometimes I forget that I'm here in a domestic capacity. I'm working, and it's great to talk to everybody, but sometimes I have to get back and play music because, well, that's what I'm contracted to do." So, but all in all, like I said, it was a great weekend. And by weekend, I mean 4-day weekend. But a lot of fun, a lot of great people. And all things considered, I thought they did a really good job there at Gen Con with how they handled the whole masking and vaccination thing and everything. I was really impressed. Was it perfect? No, but I think considering they did a really good job. So here's hoping that next year it's even better. Oh, you know, I don't know about that. I, le- I okay. I think I'm good, but I've certainly gotten to that point, and I can accept that. But I never. There's no such thing. I've had bad days, and you have good days. It's sort of like being a sailor, because some days the wind blows and you're doing great on your sailing ship. Other times there's no wind and uh, you feel pretty helpless, like there's nothing you can do. You kind of go with the current sometimes. Um, and I guess the trick is learning to do that and not fight it. And I've managed to do that. So, and yeah, you're not wrong from where I started. Wow. Uh, right, right. And Helly is like, yeah, um, worked there many years, so you haven't played a single game at role playing convention. And maybe that's something you should think about, Helly. You should like look at it and say, okay, this year I'm gonna actually play a game. Um, like every convention, you kind of work at it differently, just like every fair. Some conventions, I like a Gen Con, I do everything during the day. I have all my shows, workshops, um, during, in the morning and the afternoon. And by the time 6 or 7 o'clock rolls around, I'm done. I don't have any night events like a lot of musicians do. I've already played my gigs, so then I can relax and chill. And if I recover, and if I want to, and yeah, I played some board games and enjoyed time with people, and got to enjoy a little bit of that at the convention, so that was fun. um so yeah, it really is a nice thing. But anyway, this is sort of a little bit of an introduction to conventions on my fair life. So yeah, I guess, like I said, there's crossover, so I'll justify it a little. But yeah, definitely a lot of fun. Next, like I said, I'm going to Gen Con, going to Dragon Con. Yeah, that's the tough thing. I always make sure on stage I say the right name. Apparently not on streams. I'll have to work on that. But yeah, going to Dragon Con in a couple of weeks, Atlanta, and that'll be a crazy Labor Day weekend. And then the weekend after, I'll be doing the Sherwood Celtic Festival. Um, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then after that, Louisiana Fair. So always good. Look forward to seeing all of you next week, and I'll have a lot more cool stuff to talk about, not just cons, I promise. So have a good week, enjoy, and don't just have a good life, have a fair life.